Today I'm going to be answering your questions about what it's like to live in Celebration. This video will give you all the answers you need and hopefully make you feel confident in your decision to move here or not. I'm breaking it down by categories, so the first category will be lifestyle and community. Are there any neighborhood events and activities? Yes, we have a lot of events going on in Celebration, especially during the holidays. We have Zumba, yoga, football, American football, tennis, cornhole, basically any sport that you can think of, we have a club for it. A lot of them are for kids, but I've seen that there are some adult classes and clubs as well. We even have a ballroom dancing class each week, which is really interesting. So I don't think you'll be at a shortage of things to do. Every month, I believe it's usually on the second Friday of the month, sometimes it's the first Friday, it does change, but each month there is a food truck Friday, which is free admission. So as the name says, there will be lots of different food trucks around Celebration in the town center and back near the tennis courts and clubhouse. You don't need to be a Celebration resident to visit, but it's a really fun thing to come and try out on a nice Friday evening. We have a few local pubs or breweries, I would say. Here there's a brewery that just opened in Celebration near the Publix. There is, of course, the Town Tavern, which is definitely a staple restaurant here. Both places will do music nights or quiz nights and bingo. So again, there's always something to do on the evenings. We have a library here. I bet from anywhere you live, it's probably no more than 10 minutes away because it's kind of in the middle of Celebration. And next to that will be the hospital. So that's good. We have a hospital right here. There's also lots of restaurants down there. If you are a Disney employee, there are Disney offices just next to the hospital down that way as well. So from anywhere you live in Celebration, I don't see it being more than 10, even 15 if it's, you know, like rush hour. Yeah, pretty close by. Is Celebration a safe place to live? And I would say yes. I am on the Celebration Back Porch Facebook group. Join at your own risk. There's people on there that are always talking about like kids being reckless on their bikes and doing all sorts of things. I've never experienced that myself. I mean, I'm sure that it's true because they wouldn't lie, right? We would assume that they wouldn't lie. But in my opinion, that's just kids being kids and being annoying. I don't think that there's a major safety risk here at all. What amenities are available in the community? Just like our events, we have lots of amenities available. So when you move to Celebration, you can apply for a Celebration ID, and that will let you into any of the clubhouses here in Celebration. Some of the events require you to have a Celebration ID, but things like Food Truck Friday or like Christmas time and Celebration where they put the tree up, or Oktoberfest, those type of things you don't need an ID for. But if you want to use the gym or the pool, stuff like that, you do need the ID. Now, when we first moved here like 4 years ago, I believe it was only $10 for the year to get the ID. I'm assuming that it will have gone up now, but it's still not that expensive if you don't have a pool or you want to use the gyms. You don't have to just live in an apartment complex to use those amenities. So we have them all around Celebration. There's also lots of playgrounds, tennis courts, barbecue, grills, basketball courts, and stuff like that. What are the local quality and reputation of the schools? Now, I don't know anybody who's in the schools. I am not in school myself, and I don't have kids that are in school, but I did do some research and I found that the Celebration K through 8 school is ranked the second highest school. How did they word this? It is ranked number 2 of all traditional K through 8 and middle schools in the state of Florida based on overall grades. So that's very good school. I didn't know that until I was researching it, and I think that is an amazing spot to hold. Number 2. First is the worst, second is the best. Duh. And they have been awarded an A ranking for the past 20 years. I couldn't find much info on the high school. We do have one elementary school, then we have the K through 8, and then we have the high school, but I did see that the high school is rated a B. I think that means the overall grades are a B. I would still say that the schools here are pretty good, but that's kind of all I can say based on my research since I don't know anyone that's in school. How does the cost of living in Celebration compare to other areas nearby? As far as the cost of living, which I'm assuming is like groceries and things like that, or maybe gas, it's relative all around the Disney bubble, if you want to call it, like Windermere and Winter Garden. I feel like every time you go to a grocery store like Publix or Walmart, they're all basically the same. Maybe the gas would change by a little bit, but more or less those are gonna be all the same unless you go further out, I am assuming. Maybe gas would be cheaper in like Davenport or further away in Kissimmee, but I don't really know. Which leads us into our next topic of real estate. If you've seen my videos before, you know I like to tour different apartments in the Disney area. We even ventured out to Hunters Creek in Kissimmee last week, so I will link those down below if you are interested in looking at apartments here in Celebration. But as far as the typical price range of houses here, they are quite expensive, of course. That is to be expected. I know that housing prices are expensive most places at the minute, but definitely here in Celebration, you can probably find a condo for maybe, you know, $350,000, like within that range. So that would be a 2-bedroom apartment basically. I mean, most of the houses here can probably go for like $700,000 plus, and they are beautiful. They have been updated. It's just a lot. So it's definitely an expensive place to buy a house. But as far as renting an apartment goes, I would say that it's relative to other apartments that we've looked at. For example, a 1-bedroom here in Celebration could be, you know, about $1,800, and in Winter Garden or Windermere, they're about the same, maybe, you know, $1,700 to $1,800. When it comes to renting, it's very similar. What types of homes are available? I've seen single family homes, condos, townhomes, so I think we really have a lot of options here, but again, it's just going to be more expensive. Are there any HOA fees associated with living in Celebration? The HOA fees in Celebration can be so high, and I know that they're very strict. So like I mentioned, that Facebook group that I was a part of, they were basically saying that you can't decorate for a holiday until 6 weeks before. So if you have the Halloween or Christmas decorations up 6 weeks before the holiday, then you would get fined for that. And I get it, if you're not from Orlando, 6 weeks sounds like more than enough time, but here we like to celebrate the holidays early. So Disney puts up their Halloween decorations about the first week of August because they have the Halloween party. Then we have Christmas that starts on November 1st. So a lot of the residents here like to get into the spirit early, including myself, but they aren't allowed to do that because of the HOA rules. And again, they can be really expensive, maybe upwards of $500 or $600 a month. But I am not a homeowner here in Celebration, so I can't speak too much on that. I just know it's very expensive when we have looked at houses here. Now we can talk about the proximity to Disney World and other attractions. Celebration is just off of I-4 and 192, which are two really busy roads, to put it lightly. How easy is it to commute to Disney World? Very easy. You just hop on World Drive, drive straight into Disney World. For me, to get to Disney, I only have to hit one traffic light. I can be parked in Hollywood Studios in under 10 minutes. The Magic Kingdom, it probably takes me just over 10 minutes to get parked. So it's an amazing place to be if you love Disney, but don't forget that there's other towns surrounding Disney World that are still close. Like I mentioned, Winter Garden, Windermere, Horizon West, things like that. So Celebration is not your only option. As for commuting to other attractions like Universal, you just have to get on I-4, which is usually always backed up. But it would take about 30 minutes from here on a good day, and there's the Mall of Millennia just up that way, so that usually takes about 30 minutes. Downtown could take even longer. Let's see how long that would take right now. It's 11:45 on a Wednesday. Luckily, there's no traffic at the minute, so to get to downtown, it takes half an hour up I-4. And just for reference, to get to Universal right now, it would only take 20 minutes. So if you are commuting from downtown Orlando, let's see how long that would take. I just typed in downtown from where I am in Celebration. Thank goodness for technology, because I'm gonna set this that we would be leaving downtown at 5 p.m. So if you did have a job that left there at 5, we'll just put that in today at 5 p.m. It says it would typically take 45 minutes to an hour and a half. I would go in the middle, it would take about an hour. Keeping in mind, it's only 23 miles away, so there's a lot of traffic when it comes to rush hour. That's why I typically like to stay on the Disney side. I hate driving on I-4. I don't really like driving on the 192. It's very touristy, but that's where the closest Target is, so I have to. Does living near Disney World impact the noise levels? I will say that I can hear the fireworks. Unfortunately, I can't see them, but I can hear them from my apartment. But I'm sure that if you are deeper into Celebration, you wouldn't really be able to hear it because I can't hear it all the time. It's kind of weird, like obviously if we're doing stuff, if the TV is up loud or whatever, I can't really hear it, but if I'm just sat like reading or doing something quietly, I can hear them, but it doesn't really bother me. It's usually only the Epcot fireworks because Magic Kingdom's a little bit further out. It would have to probably be silent in here for me to hear the Magic Kingdom fireworks, but Epcot's, they don't last that long. It's maybe like 10, no more than 15 minutes. So it really doesn't bother me at all, and I usually just hear the first few or the final bangs, basically. Now, let's just talk general information like the weather. Are there any weather-related concerns? Of course, we know that it's hot in Florida. Today, it is 90 degrees and it's middle of September. I'm hoping for the weather to get a bit cooler, but we won't really see that until November. Now I sound like a meteorologist. Living here from November to May is my favorite time of the year, which is like the majority of the year. June, it starts to get quite hot, and then once July hits, that's over. Like July, August, September, and then usually the beginning of October, it's like, I don't want to go outside. But I live here for the Florida winters and it's perfect in the winter time. It can even get as cold as like 0. I think last Christmas it got to even -2. But the great thing about it is that when it is 0 degrees, the sun is out, there's no clouds in the sky, and the next day it will go right back up to 50 degrees. Sorry, I just did Celsius and Fahrenheit in one sentence. I don't know why, but I always do cold weather in Celsius and then warmer temperatures in Fahrenheit. I don't know if it makes it seem like the cold weather is colder and the warm weather is warmer when I do that. Anyways, in Florida, we also get tropical storms and hurricanes. Knock on wood, we've been good for a while. I will say, usually when the storm touches land, it kind of dies down a bit. So being in Orlando, since we're in the middle of the state, it is usually dying down by the time it gets over here. Of course, not all the time. That's just what I've experienced living here so far. I used to live in South Florida, so we were right on the coast, and of course, as soon as the storm hits, you kind of get all of it. But I've noticed in Orlando, it doesn't really happen as much. And again, knock on wood, there hasn't been a hurricane here, a major one, since we have lived in Orlando. Hopefully I'm not jinxing anything, but it's fine. I feel like there are a lot of jokes about Floridians when we hear there's a hurricane coming and we're like, okay. I do notice though, living in more of a touristy area, if there's signs of like a tropical depression or tropical storm, a lot more, what's the word, like waters or canned food and stuff tends to go. When living in South Florida, it wasn't really a touristy place. We all kind of knew that it was just going to be a lot of wind and rain, which makes sense since people coming from out of state don't really know what to expect, and I would probably be the same if I was on holiday and they were talking about a tropical storm I've never experienced, so I get it. But just a heads up, in case you want to move here, always have a little hurricane, what's the word? What is the word for that? Like a hurricane emergency pack? I don't know. But you get what I mean. Are there good shopping and dining options nearby? I feel like I talked about this more in the beginning of the video, but there is so much to do here now, especially since they built the brand new Publix. There's a Mexican restaurant, burgers, chicken, a brewery. There's Pilates over there. I believe there's a dentist. Peach Valley Cafe, which is like a nice little brunch place. There's a bagel shop, Publix, Walgreens, UPS. I don't need to leave this little bubble that I live in because I have it all. I just do a triangle. I'm like, my house, Publix, Disney, and I just do that. Never leave this bubble. So yes, overall, there are so many places to eat. On the other side, we have a Chipotle and Applebee's, and that's more of like the touristy area, I would say, because it's right on 192, but further back in Celebration, you're not really on 192, you're more on I-4. Are there public transportation options, or is car ownership necessary? Florida just doesn't really have good transportation options. In Orlando, they definitely don't. I know that we have buses here, but just to see how long it would take me to walk to the bus stop, I feel like it's probably half an hour or something. It's not even on my Google Maps. Oh, it took me to the Disney bus stop. That's far away. This says if I were to walk to my nearest bus station, which is only a 10-minute drive from here, it would take an hour to walk there. Of course, you could ride a bike. Maybe it would take like 15 or 20 minutes, but that just shows you that it's not very common to ride the bus here as it should be. I feel like public transport should be way more of an option everywhere. I mean, when you look at big cities, of course, like New York, they have the subway, they have buses, they have the city bikes. It's more of like a walkable city also, so I get that. But Orlando is definitely not walkable, at least where I live. I could walk to the shops in probably like 10 minutes, which is all right. But if you're thinking of walking to work, at least where I work, that would not be possible. So I do definitely think that you need to own a car, and that's probably a big reason why it's really busy here all the time, because the buses are few and far between. To get to the bus stops, it takes an hour for me if I wanted to take the bus, and I don't even know how long it would take to get to where I need to go, or if I have the option to get to where I need to go. So unfortunately, not good with public transport here. Are there many job opportunities in Celebration or nearby? Even though I know the job market is really tough here right now, I'm not sure if it's like that everywhere, but I still would say that there's a lot of opportunities. Whether you get them or not is a different story, and I say that because I've seen a lot of companies that are just putting up job postings and then no one ends up getting the position. Especially at Disney, I know that they like to hire from within, or Universal, big companies like that. I believe that they legally have to post it online, but they might already have someone in mind for it. You know, they interview a few people and then they just hire from within. So it's not that there aren't a lot of job opportunities, it's just whether these places are really hiring. Of course, you don't have to stick to working just in the theme parks. There's a lot of businesses around here, but it's just been hard to find those corporate jobs specifically. There might be a lot of retail opportunities, or you know, we have a lot of restaurants here that might need help as well. So it just depends what you're looking for, I think. And with that being said, that is everything I have for this video. If there's any questions I didn't answer, please let me know. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!